Good evening, Michigan. As you know, there is a crisis that is not of our making, but one that we can weather as Michiganians if we so choose. A pandemic has swept the globe, sparing few nations and locales. In Michigan, we've recorded over 22,000 cases and over 1,200 deaths are attributed to a disease known as COVID-19, which stems from a virus originating in China. The actual numbers of infection are suspected to be considerably higher, and many of those deaths may be directly caused by the virus, but we are expected to take the threat seriously, and we will, nonetheless. This virus is highly contagious, and it seems to spread much easier than even the common flu. To some, particularly those with prior health conditions and age-related illness, it is quite deadly. For most who are healthy, it may simply reveal itself as a headache or otherwise minor discomfort. Clearly, however, as there is no absolute cure, we should consider it a threat and approach our daily lives with that in mind. As you know, when you elected me as governor, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. This responsibility may be abused in other parts of the country, but we will not allow that here in Michigan. Under the declaration of emergency I have issued, I have certain powers that will allow the efficient movement and allocation of resources. It allows me to make executive decisions that are normally outside the ability of this office and under the purview of the legislature. Under no circumstance can I abridge those rights, of which I am charged to protect you as citizens of Michigan and of the United States at large. It also allows me, under the Military Powers Act, to mobilize Michigan's National Guard for peacekeeping as necessary, but more so, to serve our communities, which need help the most. Your guardsmen are there to provide you comfort and relief if law enforcement becomes compromised because of this epidemic. As you know, while there are no absolute cures at this time, there are reports of a drug used safely for more than half a century in the treatment of malaria that offers promise. In combination with other commonly available remedies, some who were afflicted with COVID-19 have seen immediate relief, including one of our own state representatives. While checking our optimism, we feel it is appropriate to ask the federal government under our emergency plan to arrange for sufficient quantities of this drug, hydroxychloroquine, as to potentially mitigate further onsets of the disease if its efficacy is determined to be sound. Also, as you know, there appears to be a higher than normal spread of this disease in certain areas, and it appears to disproportionately afflict people of color. It is suspected that the higher reporting of this affliction appears to be more related to the health conditions of all affected, and that certain demographics might be at higher risk from long-term diet and urban density. To this end, we will be allocating relief resources to any locales throughout the state where they are needed or most hard hit. We are also going to take a different stance than other states in the way we close our schools. Under my pen, each of the districts has been empowered to decide whether they wish to remain open and what benchmarks they should use to determine if closures are necessary. To date, however, mortality under this novel virus has proven to be even lower than that of the common flu for ages 1 through 26. Risk to the students should be minimal, and for those parents wishing to keep their children home to protect themselves or school officials who wish to remain home, I have enacted an executive order giving children an opportunity to make up their courses online, and a provision allowing up to 4 weeks of pay for teachers who wish to participate in a prepared online curriculum while home. All other benefits will be uninterrupted. This order also allows unemployment at 75% of the normal wages for up to 4 weeks for those who are uncomfortable with exposure risks working in their current jobs, and protects those employees from unlawful termination if they elect to stay home during the duration of this emergency order. As you know, social distancing is recommended, and the CDC suggests remaining 6 feet apart will prevent the rapid spread and surges of this disease. This is to protect you and to protect others if you are infected and do not realize it, which is one of the hallmarks of this disease. We cannot force you away from your families or friends, and the protections you have under the Constitution of this state and nation are paramount. However, we can make sure you have the tools to make the right decisions regarding the safety of yourself, your family, and those you care about. You have a responsibility to limit the exposure to others as well, but with this in mind, we all share the risk if we decide to venture out until more is known about this virus. What my administration will do is attempt to provide you with all the information we can as soon as it is available, and advise residents to be mindful for those groups which are at a higher risk for contracting the COVID-19. We will also make recommendations for businesses that decide to remain open and provide rationale for those recommendations. Under no circumstance will we close a business proactively, but may act to regulate in ways that are already in use by our local health departments. We understand that Michigan business owners and their workers have as much a stake in providing a safe and healthy environment as the people who patronize those businesses. Each Michiganian's economic health is important as his or her physical health, and one should not have to be sacrificed to save the other. Our state has a yearly gross domestic product of $430 billion that cannot be easily replaced. With informed consent, each of our citizens can determine the risk levels they are willing to take, enjoy the protections government is formed to provide, and keep the nation's 13th largest economy humming along. We are Michigan strong, and we will come out of this even stronger. Thank you, and God bless, and have a happy and enjoyable Easter with your families.
Fascinating.